Alright, Riot's done it again. Another patch, another round of reworks, and adjustments that somehow make the game both better and worse at the same time. This time the spotlight's on Gwen, Diana, Qiyana, Mundo, Scanner, and of course Graves, everyone's favorite bruiser. But here's the thing, while Riot claims they are balancing these champs, some of these changes feel like deja vu, like we have seen this movie before. Gwen is being reverted, Diana is still untouched where it matters, Qiyana finally getting what she deserves, and Graves, while Riot might have just made bruiser Graves a thing again, which is either terrifying or hilarious depending on which side of the shotgun you are on. So let's go through everything, starting with the nerfs, moving into the adjustments, and then finishing with the Graves buffs that might just shake things up again. Let's begin with Gwen, because this one is spicy. Riot decided to revert most of her recent changes, basically bringing her back to that version where she's weaker early but much stronger later in the game. So this means she's worse early but safer and way stronger late. To playing Gwen, players can now actually survive the first few minutes without praying to the jungle gods for a gank. And for those who play her in mid or jungle, yeah, she's still going to be fine there, maybe even better. Her power curve now really spikes at the second item if you build Shadow Flame, or around the third if you go Malignance and Rabadon. The result, she's scaling harder than ever. It's one of those buff nerf situations where Riot technically made her weaker early, but in practice that safety plus insane late game power usually equals disaster down the road. And honestly, I get it. Gwen mains have been suffering. The champions felt clunky, weak, and irrelevant for months. People have been begging Riot to revert the previous set of nerfs, and now they finally did. But here's the problem. Gwen has always been a balancing nightmare. When she is strong, she is absolutely miserable to play against, especially from the jungle. Because let's be real, Gwen jungle is toxic. It's that kind of champion that dives into your backline, heals through everything, and deletes you before you can even click your mouse. So yeah, I get the hype from Gwen mains, but for everyone else, no one really enjoys when Gwen becomes meta. If Riot wants her to stay healthy for top lane, they really need to stop letting her dominate from the jungle. Because once she gets those two core items, it's over. Now let's talk about Diana, because surprise, Riot nerfed her but didn't actually fix what makes her broken. Her passive damage to monsters was reduced by 20%, which on paper sounds like a nerf, but in reality it does almost nothing. Her clear speed is still absurdly fast. She will still hit level 6 before most junglers can even clear their second buff. Her AoE passive just deletes camps too efficiently. The real issue isn't her raw numbers, it's her tempo. Diana clears faster, gets a level advantage, secures early objectives, and snowballs way too easily. If Riot actually wants to fix assassin junglers dominating the meta, they need to address clear speed and not just stick a few numbers in the patch notes. And speaking of assassin junglers that ruined your day, let's talk about Qiyana. Finally, she's getting nerfed. This champion has been one of the most oppressive picks in the jungle for way too long. Her clear is ridiculous, her burst is off the charts, and she has more mobility than half the cast combined. The upcoming nerf is long overdue and very much deserved. But if Riot really wants to tone her down again, the clear speed is the key. Jungle Qiyana shouldn't be out-tempoing farming junglers. She is supposed to be a high-risk, high-reward assassin, not a tempo monster with full map control by minute 6. Riot keeps saying they want to make the jungle less punishing and more accessible, but then they keep letting these hyper-fast assassin junglers dictate the entire early game. It's absurd and it's honestly exhausting. Next up, Dr. Mundo, the big purple menace that somehow manages to be both unkillable and annoying. Players have been complaining about Mundo jungle for a while now, and honestly is justified. He's frustrating to deal with, especially when he is ahead. Riot's response, some small adjustments. His armor growth is going up, but his E active bonus HP is going down. Basically, he will be a leader tankier over time, but he won't get to abuse that ridiculous bonus had during trades or skirmishes. It's a step in the right direction. He will still be strong and probably still annoying, but at least he won't be that unkillable monster he used to be. Although, let's be honest, Mundo probably still needs more tuning. His kit is outdated and binary. He either runs you down or dies instantly. There is not much counterplay in between. Now moving on to the disaster known as Skarner. Remember when Riot said the Skarner rework was supposed to breathe a new life into the champion? Yeah, about that. Turns out the new Skarner somehow ended up being even more boring than the old one. They tried to make him unique with his mechanics and AoE stuns, but the result is a clunky, awkward and underwhelming champion that doesn't really fit anywhere. He's neither fun to play nor strong to play against. That's a bad combo. Riot apparently knows this because they decided to delay his changes to the next patch, which honestly might be the best decision they have made here. He needs real attention, not another set of half-hearted adjustments. I will give them credit though, they are aware he is in a bad spot. The problem is that a bad spot is starting to feel permanent. Now let's get into my favorite part, Graves. So Riot is changing up his magic ready scaling again. He's losing some base MR, especially later in the game, but he can stack MR through his E again. And honestly, I love this change. It's a throwback to his older version where you could stack defensive stance naturally just by playing smart, dashing in and out, weaving autos and managing your passive stacks. It rewards experience and proper positioning, which fits Graves perfectly. What this does long term is bring back the Bruiser Graves fantasy, the one where you brawl in close range, sustain through fights and outplay your opponent with mechanics and decision making. Now I totally get why people find Bruiser Graves obnoxious. He is tanky, he deals insane damage and it can feel impossible to punish him if he is ahead. But at the same time, that's the point of his design. He is a duelist. He is supposed to dominate when played well. Right now, Graves feels kind of directionless. As an ADC, he is outclassed by almost every marksman. As a bruiser, he is inconsistent and sometimes just toxic to play against. Red is trying to find the middle ground and letting him stack MR with E might finally give him that again. In the short term, this change might not shake up the entire meta, but long term, it reinforces his identity. He is not supposed to be another squishy ranged carry, he is a gunslinging brawler who thrives in chaos. So for Graves mains, this is a win. For everyone else, may be a little annoying, but at least it's healthier direction than flat out stat buffs. So overall, this patch feels like Riot is trying to clean up a few messes while quietly creating new ones in the background. Gwen is going back to broken again, guaranteed. Diana's nerf won't matter, Qiyana might finally be manageable, Mundo is still Mundo, Skarner, let's just not talk about Skarner, and Graves is back to being the edge bruiser that makes every squishy regret stepping out of lane. But hey, at least the game will stay interesting, because if there is one thing Riot knows how to do, it's make the meta chaotic. Anyway, that's all from me. Let me know down below which changes you are most excited for or which one you absolutely hate. And if you are a Gwen main, congrats, I guess. Enjoy the spotlight while it lasts, because everyone else is about to hate you again. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like, sub and pray Riot doesn't revert this revert next patch.